You've figured out what your marketing plan's looking like. You've figured out what are the channels you're going to be using to build your visibility, to build relationships with your audience, and to build trust with your customers. After that, the next thing you got to do is create content your audience cares about. It's a very, 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 very simple process. And you're going to be like, what? That's it? Yes, that's it. You got to remember, your customers, they don't care about you. They care about themselves and their problems. And the best way that I've found, this is the way that I've used for my consulting work, for the startups, and for my own business. The best way to create content is by using something called that I call explosive questions, right? It's very simple. You take the game plan, right? That's the document that you already filled out. And then you ask 6 questions from each aspect of the game plan. You ask who, what, when, where, why, and how. Then you answer the questions to create the content. Let's take, for example, the hero, right? Then the question would be, who is the hero? What is the main thing that's bugging the hero? When does the hero think about your service? Where does the hero face the biggest problem in their lives? Why is the hero not able to solve their own problems? How can you best help the hero? So you see what I did? I took each of these words and I multiplied it in a way with each element of the game plan. Except you're not going to be multiplying it by hero or monster or paradise, right? What you're going to be doing is you're going to be multiplying it by specific answers that you've already put in. And let's take a look at how that's going to be coming out, right? I have an example that's coming out. We will dig into that. This is one of the things that was there in my own game plan when I built it out, right? Builders are unable to design their business and communicate the value they can provide in a way that would make their customers pay attention or money. It's a mouthful, but this is a problem that many builders have when it comes to marketing. So then I went ahead and asked who, what, when, where, why, and how. Let's take an example at when, right? So again, I'm taking the keyword about unable to design their business. So when should I look at designing my business? And that would be a question that would, and the answer of which would be very important for my customers. Or when should I communicate my value proposition to my customers, right? So that was for when. What are the obstacles in designing a business? What does value communication look like? That's all I've done. I've taken who, what, when, where, why, and how, multiplied it by each answer that I've given for the game plan, and then I answer that prompt to create the content I need. I did jump ahead to the example because you need to understand that how that works, but then you end up with a bunch of questions, right? So how do you pick the right one? Resonance. See the stuff that actually matters to you and to your audience. If there was a question which is logically accurate, but it doesn't make sense to your customers, don't pick that, right? Prioritize the biggest pains first, right? The things that are bugging them the most. I am not able to make revenue. I am not getting the traction that I want. I think marketing is bullshit. These are some of the biggest pains that my audience has. So I would create content primarily, like prioritizing these pains over other things like, I don't know how to design a logo, right? Look at what's aligning with your business goals. That's another way to pick the right question as to what you should create content about. And look at impact. Does answering this question make a big impact to yourself and your business? And what about the impact it has on your customer's life and in terms of solving their problems? It's important that you focus on that as well. And finally, look at resources. There might be some very important questions that you think will, not you think, will completely change the life for you as well as your audience. But if you don't have the resources to execute it, no point in doing it, right? So play within your strengths, play to your means, and focus on these different attributes to pick the right question. Again, once you do this, it's not like you're stuck, right? Because you always can iterate, improvise, adapt, overcome, or execute, measure, and adapt. That is the way that you can approach this. And that's the beauty of creating content as well, right? Because you get multiple shots at goal. So you can keep on creating different kinds of content, and all you've invested is your time, and you got something else in return. You know that, hey, this thing doesn't work or this thing works, and you buffed up your skill a little bit, right? So that also helps. And that's how you create content that your audience wants. Very simple. It's a strategy I use as well. Finally, the exercise for this video. Create 6 content topics using the explosive questions. Go back to your game plan, pick out different answers and multiply them by who, what, when, where, why, and how, and enter those topics in your workbook. There is nothing stopping you from creating more than 6, but I just added 6 because 6 is a very 60 number. Sorry, guys. Dad joke time, right? So that was number 9. Module number 10 is about building relationships with your customers, and that is coming up next.